a really nice win over a tough team in Tacoma.
Yeah, and I called it last week. I knew that quarterback was going to be something special the way I saw him at the end of the first half last week against Wall. And he came out, he had some, sophomore mistakes, but he still did really well.
Yeah, you saw that kind of crop up towards the end of the game with some ball control issues. But the fact is, he's a young quarterback. He showed a high football IQ, which is something that's really going to help them as the season goes along, and they keep getting more and more experience.
Yeah, and I like the way they made some easy plays for him, like that swing pass for the touchdown. It was, those are the confidence builders right there, those easy passes for the touchdown.
Yeah, they had some early missteps with some penalties, taking back some scores, and they did not let that stop them. They came back and were able to continue winning. They even threw a pick six in the game, and that didn't stop the quarterback at all. They just drove right back down the field.
Responded right back with that swing pass touchdown.
And that's exactly what you want to see from your quarterback when the pressure's on like that.
Now he's got 2 more years, too, after this, so that's good news for Coleman.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice little quarterback to have for the next couple years.
Yeah. All right, in our next game, we had Cisco taking on Clyde. Clyde won that game 48-14.
Wow.
Or sorry, Cisco moved to win.
That is a dominating performance by Cisco. I believe Cisco played early last week,
yes.
Both of these teams dominated their opponents last week. I believe Clyde played Bangs.
Yes, Clyde played Bangs, and I thought Bangs was going to be good at the beginning of the year. So to see Clyde get that big win last week, and then to see them get rolled over like this against Cisco.
That shows you how good Cisco really is. I mean, a dominating performance. This game wasn't close throughout most of it. I think by the fourth quarter, they were already both playing reserves at that point.
Yeah.
Which is something where you can get the other team who's losing to start playing their reserves.
Yeah, that's pretty. That hurts.
Yeah. Yeah, just great performance by Cisco.
Yeah. And our next game, we had Early taking on San Saba in San Saba. And Early came away with the victory, 23-15.
Yeah, and I picked San Saba, if you guys listen to the Pick'em show, to win this game because Early got dominated by Cisco last weekend. And while I thought Cisco was a great team, I didn't realize how good they were going to be this year. So Early, even though they have that bad loss on the record, score-wise, they look like they're going to be a team to reckon with this year.
I picked Early last week, and I wanted to pick them again this week. I thought they'd bounce back, but I just couldn't do it after the way they came up against Cisco. And they wouldn't prove me wrong.
Yeah, that's just a tough team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't able to watch that game, unfortunately, against Cisco last week, but I know from following them last year, they were always able to stay in games, and very rarely did they get blown out. So I expect to see a lot more of them later in the season.
I won't doubt you again, Early.
And it's going to be very interesting to watch them play Coleman next week.
Yeah, we'll have Dennis and Daniel there for that. Yeah, should be interesting.
Should be a very back-and-forth game.
All right, our next game, we had the Mason Punchers taking on Goldthwaite. And Mason came out on top 26-7.
That is why I thought Mason was going to win that. To see Goldthwaite go down 0-2, that's a rare sight.
That's what I hear. I picked Goldthwaite. I picked them the first week thinking they'd win. Picked them this week thinking they'd win. Not yet.
Yeah, Mason's just a tough team. It was really hard first 2 games to get for Goldthwaite.
Yeah, hopefully it can only get easier from here. So
that is very true.
All right, in our next game, we've got Sonora taking on Brady. Unfortunately, did not come out the way I hoped for Brady. 35-18, Sonora.
Yeah, this game was actually, that score kind of looks a little bit lopsided, but this game, through most of it, was a back-and-forth affair with Brady taking a lead in the fourth quarter, 18 to, I believe, 12, 14, something like that. And then they did what good teams do, and they came back Sonora and just kind of dominated. Brady was driving, they were able to pick him off, and they were able to stop him 4th down with 2 minutes left, and then just start scoring at will at that point.
Well, it was the same way for Brady last week, and I thought they were going to pull out another victory this week because they were in the same situation they were in last week, but just couldn't pull off the repeat.
Yeah, despite losing this game, I think this is a very good sign from Brady because Sonora is just a consistently great team. So to be able to compete with them the way they were able to do throughout most of the game, Brady is going to be a tough out for anyone this year.
I agree. I'm sticking with them.
All right, what's the next score?
All right, our next game, we had Crane taking on Colorado City. And the Cranes, Golden Cranes, I apologize, came out on top 27-20 over Colorado City.
Once again, this is another team in Colorado City that you do not expect to see go down 0-2 to begin the year. But once they got a really tough schedule at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, Crane is not a team you want to play if you're trying to get a win. They're just a tough team.
After losing a tough one to the Buckaroos last week, I was hoping they would come out with a victory here, but
yeah, it's Colorado City is still going to be a tough team for people later in the year. Just once again, it's just these schedules sometimes get really hard at the beginning of the year. I expect it to even out a little bit more as the season goes along.
I had a lot of the better teams do like to start their season off against tough opponents, and then as the season goes on, it gets a little bit easier when you get to the district games.
Which really makes sense if you think about it, because you want to get that early year. You can kind of build up some confidence with some wins against tough teams, or if you lose, it gives you time to rebound later in the season.
Right.
So your season's not over at the end of the year.
Yeah. All right, our next game is a six-man game that we talked about earlier. It was Victory Life taking on Covenant Classical. Victory Life came away with the win, 24-6.
Yeah, a very nice win for Victory Life. We saw last year they're just one of those teams that can come out and surprise you. Kind of inconsistent, a little bit back and forth in how they perform. But after a tough loss last week, where I believe it was over by halftime, this is a nice victory for them.
Yeah, I don't think any of us picked them in the Pick'em show this week. I think it was a unanimous pick for Covenant. So good to see Victory Life come away with the win here.
Yeah, these six-man football games can go a lot of different ways. I mean, it's really hard to pick these games, especially once again when you have Victory Life. They normally play tough teams, so it's hard to kind of gauge where they are because they get blown out by some teams that almost any other team in the league would get blown out by.
Yeah, I'm just going to start flipping a coin when I pick these games. They're so unpredictable at this point. I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to pick these one for right. I just got across my computer screen final. Hillsborough beat Hamilton 46-43. So,
that's a heartbreaker.
That is a tight game, and that was one of the was going kind of back and forth all game. So a nice win for Hillsborough. Hamilton starts the season off, I believe, 0-2 now.
Yeah, there's another team you did not expect to see go 0-2.
Yeah, I mean, most people thought, I assume that on the schedule, when people looked at it, they thought Comanche, you're going to win that game. Hillsborough, kind of a toss-up. But Comanche's looked dominant so far this year.
Yeah.
I mean, just a really surprising team. Like Brady, just can't. That's why you have to love high school football. It's so unpredictable. You get new guys come in, or just people mature, and just one season, a whole team's fortune can change.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love the NFL, but there is nothing better than high school and college football because it is so unpredictable. You never know. You're going out there. You don't know who's going to win. You know you're in for a game every week.
Yeah, it's so great to be able to cover it, and it doesn't get any better than Texas high school football.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, what's another score?
All right, our next game is another six-man team. It's going to be May taking on the Rising Stars. May, I picked them last week and everybody laughed. I picked them this week. They didn't laugh as much. And this week they came out on top, I believe it says 74-24.
Yeah, May is looking very strong to begin this year.
All they needed was that boost of confidence from me.
Yeah, all they needed was your support. That's all they were missing.
Look at them now, 74-24. That's not even close.
No, and that's one. I mean, it's why six-man football is also so unpredictable.
Yeah.
I mean, that game was actually close in the first half, and then I guess they just were able to start. They got momentum on their side and just kind of kept building.
Coach gave them some of that Gatorade.
Unfortunately for Rising Star, they fall to 0-2 to begin the season.
Yeah, but there's plenty of season left.
That is very true. That's why these early season losses, it's best to kind of get them out of the way at the beginning if you're going to have them.
Yeah. Our next game was, it actually changed last minute. It was supposed to be, I believe, Panther Creek.
Yes, Panther Creek.
They didn't have enough men on their team, so Throckmorton came in and played against Santa Ana, and I'm betting Santa Ana's not happy about that because Throckmorton throttled Santa Ana 60-13.
Yeah, that has to be disappointing to them. Panther Creek is looked to be in the preseason a solid team, but Santa Ana looked like they could be able to win that comfortably, and just got a really, really tough matchup in this week.
Yeah, that's got to be a tough way to start your morning. You get a little message that says, hey, you got to play Throckmorton instead of Panther Creek.
Yeah, that is definitely not something you want to receive.
Yeah. All right, in our next game, we've got the always tough Abilene Cooper taking on Cedar Park. Abilene Cooper pulling out the victory here, 24-21 on a last-minute field goal.
Yeah, I believe last 3 seconds.
Last 3 seconds.
That is the type of game you always want to see. I mean, that you don't get much closer than that. 3 seconds left. A 31-yard field goal in 3 seconds.
I hope the crowd brought their cameras to that game, because that's not something you see every day in high school football.
That is something I expect if anyone filmed that, you're going to see that on SportsCenter somewhere.
Oh, yeah. That's the field goals are just so they're a toss-up in high school football. Even extra points, as we saw in a lot of games tonight, you never know.
I mean, even in college, it's really only pros where it starts to get pretty consistent on it. Field goals are such an inconsistent thing to have to count at the end of the game, but they also one of the most exciting plays of the game.
That's true. For a play they're trying to get rid of, it makes the game so exciting. And I hope that they don't.
Yeah, it'd be a shame if they got rid of special teams.
All right, our next game, we've got Abilene Wiley taking on Bridgeport. Abilene Wiley coming away with the victory, 38-6.
Yeah, Abilene Wiley's just a really strong team. All these Abilene teams are pretty strong.
All these Abilene teams are always, you see Abilene on your schedule.
Yeah, that's something you don't want to see on your schedule.
It's a little discouraging.
Yeah. Although I don't think the Abilene team coming up next fared as well this week.
No, they did not. We had Abilene High taking on Duncanville.
Yeah. What was the score?
It was 50-20 Duncanville, the final.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate game for Abilene High. It was closer during the first half, but as you've seen so often in this first couple weeks of high school football, I mean, sometimes these teams just come in on that second half and they get that momentum rolling, and it's just so hard to stop.
Well, you got to find out what these coaches are telling them at halftime, because it is working, whatever they're saying.
Yeah, someone needs to get a camera in there, figure that out. I did just have another score pop up on my screen. Ballinger beat Winters 34-14.
There goes another wrong pick for me.
It's not going to be a good week for you, Steve.
It's going to be a rough week.
Ballinger's bouncing back from a loss to Brady. Winters, a solid team, but just not quite enough for Ballinger this week.
I wasn't expecting to bounce back quite yet, but they proved me wrong.
Ballinger was a team I liked all last year. Kind of rode them, made sure to pick them every week. Kind of hurt me at the end of the year. They kind of started to get against those tougher teams, and they weren't able to fare as well. I expect them to be stronger at the end of the year when they start to face those teams, because now they have the experience of going to the playoffs, being one of the top-tier teams, and that is so important when it comes to the end of the year.
All right, in our next game, we've got Anson taking on Olney with a final score of 62-32, Anson coming out on top.
Yeah, it wasn't really back and forth. It was Anson most of the way, but Anson kind of let off the throttle in the second half and allowed the other team to come back in, and Olney to come back in and make it a little bit closer than it was the first half.
Yeah, the final score doesn't reflect that, but that is true.
As so often happens in football too. I mean, if you just looked at last night's NFL game, you would think that Colts ran away with the entire game, but it was really only second half that they ran away with it. Baltimore had a chance to score and tie it up. So I mean, you have to kind of pay attention to more than just these scores in a lot of these high school, and NFL, and college games.
Yeah. And the Ravens did make a run there at the end. Old Flacco, he got one last shot in there.
It's going to be a rough year for them.
I agree. All right, our next game, got Vernon.
Yes, Vernon.
Taking on Breckenridge, the Buckaroos.
This week it did not go so well, I'm thinking, for Buckaroos.
I'm kind of glad we didn't have that game on the Pick'em show, because I would have picked Breckenridge. So, glad that wasn't a choice.
What was the game? What was the score?
The score was 48 Vernon, 3 Breckenridge.
Yeah, that's not a close game.
No.
But Buckaroos had a nice win last week. I expect them maybe a little bit of a kind of a hangover from last week's win, and I expect them to bounce back. We saw what they could do. I mean, Ballinger's not an easy team to beat.
No, not at all. So don't hang your heads on this one.
Yeah, I expect to see them come back next week.
Yeah.
The Buckaroos will fight back.
The Buckaroos. All right, our next game we've got San Angelo Lakeview taking on Fort Stockton.
And this game came down to the fourth quarter, too. It was a tight game.
Yes, another close game here this week. San Angelo Lakeview with the win 35-28 over Fort Stockton.
Yeah, there was a point where it looked like San Angelo was going to start running away with it, but Fort Stockton battled back and made it a tight game.
And I would have predicted Fort Stockton to come away with the win in this. They are a good team.
Yeah.
So to see San Angelo pull this one out.
Nice victory for them.
Yes. All right. Our next game, we've got Westbrook taking on Wilson. And Westbrook got the win here, 53-6.
Not really a close game.
No. Let's just say first
Oh,
win.
that's right. Yeah, I did see this. Westbrook came across. Sorry, Steve was trying to read my horrible handwriting there. This is their first win in over a year. So big day for them.
Good for them. Way to go, Westbrook. And it wasn't even close, so even better.
Dominating win for your first win.
Yeah. Could be a very good year for them.
We can only hope.
All right, our next game, we've got Seymour taking on Haskell.
Yes, Haskell.
And Seymour got the win here, 34-13. Or is it 39?
That's probably 13.
Okay. 30.
Once again, he's trying to decipher
my
this chicken
writing.
scratch. It's not easy to do. Even I have trouble with it, and I've been writing that way for 20 years.
Speaking of which, if you do have any scores, you can send them to the KPSM Facebook page. And that's KPSM Sports.
Yeah, make sure to check in there, because during the Friday nights, we like to give up some updates on scores, make sure kind of keep everyone informed who's on that page. So it's a very good way to stay in touch with what's going on in Texas high school football.
All right, and back to this Seymour game. They came away with the win 30. I'm going to go with 39-13.
39-13?
That's my final answer.
All right. I'll hopefully be able to look over that so we make sure that that's the correct score. But either way, nice victory for them.
Yeah, good win for Seymour. All right, and in our last game we've got here for a final, we've got Lubbock Cooper beating Snyder. Get this, 32-31.
It does not get closer than that.
Oh,
that is a heartbreaker to lose, but also a extremely just a huge confidence builder to win that type of game.
yeah, Lubbock is going to be riding a big wave of momentum going into next week.
Yeah, I mean that to win a game like that is incredibly impressive. It builds so much confidence for your team, but to lose that is devastating. I mean, I would not want to be in that locker room right now.
Do you know if this was a last-second play or not?
I unfortunately was not. Some of these people give up play-by-play on the computer, but I was not able to get play-by-play on that one. I just got the score.
All right.
Still, and that must have been an incredible game to see.
It had to be a hard one to watch for the Snyder fans.
Yeah, that would have sent me into a tailspin for the next couple of days if I was a Snyder fan.
Yeah, I've been on the wrong end of those kind of games plenty of times.
I think any sports fan can kind of can sympathize with that feeling.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's all the scores we have for right now. We're going to go look for some more scores, some more final scores, and we'll be back in a couple minutes with more of your KPSM our scoreboard show.
If you're planning to leave your home for an extended period of time, please contact us before you go. We can help find the best way to handle your utility billing when you're gone.
Coleman County Electric Co-op is certified in serving in parts of Coleman, Runnels, Concho, Tom Green, Brown, Callahan, Taylor, and Cope counties. Coleman County Electric Co-op, owned by those we serve since 1938, and proudly supporting the Blue Cats for more than 70 years.
Tyson Pharmacy is a Health Mart pharmacy that specializes in serving the community with fast, friendly, professional service and the highest quality medicines and health products. At Tyson Pharmacy, you'll always work with somebody who greets you by name, and the pharmacists take the time to counsel you and answer your questions. Tyson Pharmacy is a proud sponsor of Coleman Blue Cat football. 215 West Pecan Street in Coleman, or call 325-625-4136. That's 625-4136.
Stop wasting time shopping the big name stores for that special gift. Find it at Leather and Lace here in the heart of Santa Ana. We offer a large selection of collectibles and unique gifts for the home. Check out our selection of crosses, including one-of-a-kind handmade crosses from artisans right here in Central Texas. We also sell clothes by Urban Mango, flip-flops by Saltwater Cowgirl, and a Consuela handbag line. Find that special gift at Leather and Lace, 604 B. Wallace. Open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Like us on Facebook for weekly specials.
Now, the summer pretzel dog is so great because you get 2 of your favorite ballpark foods in one.
Right. I got hot dogs on a pretzel bun here. Get your pretzel dogs.
Oh, over here. I'll take one.
Okay, 1 pretzel dog for the guy with the little boy glove.
Well, it's all I had, so.
You know, they use regulation-sized baseballs here. Yeah, that ball's gonna dwarf that mitt.
The summer's biggest hit is the new Premium Pretzel Dog. This is how you Sonic. For a limited time, only participating Sonic drive-ins.
Looking to get more performance out of your car? Want to make it more fuel efficient too? Just stop by Williams Tire to check out Yokohama's all-new Avid Invigor, the most complete performance tire ever created. Engineered to give your car the best of everything, the Avid Invigor offers the perfect blend of all-season performance, incredible fuel efficiency, extra long tread life, and a smooth, comfortable ride. So stop by Williams Tire and ask to see the extraordinary new performance tire from Yokohama, the Avid Invigor.
Welcome back to the KPSM Scoreboard Show. It's week 2 of high school football and a lot of interesting games this week.
Yeah, a lot of close ones again. We thought the first week was good. This one was even better with some 1, 2, 3-point games, a last-second win on a field goal.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an amazing week.
It's getting better and better.
Yeah, I mean, this is why you got to love high school football.
Yeah.
I mean, pros games and that, you have those mismatches and stuff like that. You never know what's going to happen in high school football. Yeah. It could turn into a blowout, or it can just as easily be a last-second field goal.
A lot of these smaller teams, too, that you haven't heard of as much, come in there and just surprise everybody.
Yeah.
With a lot of these wins.
I mean, like we said before, these teams can change so much, like just from one season to another. Just to have someone else come in, or just someone just physically grow more into their body the next year and just develop and get more experience. It's amazing to see some of these teams just change over one course of a season.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's get to some scores.
All right, we're going to go back over some of the district games here for Coleman. The first game, if you were listening earlier to the show, we had Coleman taking on Coahoma and Coahoma. And Coleman came out on top, 37-12.
Yeah, a really tight game in that first half, but Coleman, I think, took a page out of Waller's book, kind of learned from them to come back and how important it is to get that momentum in the second half. And they got it, and they just kept rolling with it.
Yeah, I picked them this week because I saw something in that quarterback that I think we're going to continue to see more and more this year. I think he's going to keep just getting even better and better at such a young age to have that kind of intelligence.
Yeah, high football IQ, and that you cannot underrate the importance of football IQ. Yeah. You've seen it happen so many times at high school, college, and NFL levels. People with high IQs, high football IQs, can make a game, make or break a game. And we saw him face some adversity in this game in the second half where he threw a pick 6 and was able to battle right back and come back and score a touchdown, which is what you want to see from your quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, interceptions happen to everybody. So to see him be able to respond like that, that's exactly what you need to do. There's no better way.
Really impressive, and I cannot wait for that early Coleman game next week. I mean, that is going to be a fun game to listen to, which you can right here on KPSM 99.3.
That's right. I'm also looking forward to the Coleman-Hamilton game because I believe Hamilton's going to bounce back. So when I think that game comes around, that's going to be a brutal game.
Yeah, it's kind of a disappointing start for them, but like it's going to be fun to watch as these division games start playing. I mean, Coleman with a win next week or early with a win next week, that really helps you in the playoff picture. I mean, to get that win. Yeah. So it's like I said, there's a lot riding on the line for both of these teams.
Because that 2-1 record is that's gonna be it's gonna be pretty good in this district this year. A lot of the teams started out. I believe only one team won out of the district last week, and that was Cisco.
I believe you're right.
Yeah. So it may not be as hard to get in the playoffs. It's just gonna have to
Well, I mean, they're all facing really tough teams to begin the year. No one's taken an easy path in that division. So I think that's going to make it a lot more fun at the end of the year because they're building up experience against top-level talent. So when it comes to it at the end, no one's going to shy away from each other. It's just going to be hard-fought battles all year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like watching the NFC East or the AFC North where there's just those tough, scrappy teams that just go after it.
Yeah, I mean, those are always the fun divisions to watch in NFL, and this is going to be a really fun division of high school football to watch. They're just going to start beating up on each other at the end of the year.
I agree. I can't wait to call the rest of these games this year. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, it's going to be great to listen to them. And speaking of teams like we were just earlier about who can change their fortune in just one season, Comanche came out and beat Toller 31-20 this week. I just had that flash across my screen, and that is an impressive win. I think I was the only one who picked them this week. I picked them as my upset pick of the week, and I didn't even feel that great about it. But Comanche has looked great so far. Beat Hamilton week 1, and now beat Toller. It looks like it's going to be a good season for them.
It's going to be a rough week for me. I know that. Comanche, I did not see them beating Toller at all.
Yeah,
I picked Toller, so
Toller's a tough school.
Yeah, that's so good for Comanche. 2 tough wins early in the season.
Yeah, and once again, these are character-building wins. I mean, you're beating tough teams that really, for Comanche, a lot of people did not expect them to come in and win like they did, but they came in, they beat these teams. They didn't get scared by the pressure, and they were able to dominate. And that is going to be a key thing later in the year.
Yeah.
If you can just keep capitalizing off of that, and it looks like the coaches are doing that, then you're just going to have this wave of momentum riding with that team.
Yeah, they shook off those first game jitters. They didn't worry about the second game hangover. And just 2 tough wins early on. Comanche, you better watch out for them. They're going to be a tough team this year.
And really, they were in the best position possible because they had no pressure on them coming at the start of the year. No one really expected a ton from them. But now they're going to start getting to that position where the pressure is going to be put on them, and I cannot wait to see how they respond to it.
Those are my favorite kind of teams, those ones that come out of nowhere. Those are the ones I wait for at the beginning of the year in every sport.
They're what makes football the best sport out of any sport right now.
Oh, yeah.
You don't really get that in any other sport. These teams just coming out of nowhere.
I'm going to keep my eye on them this year.
Yeah.
All right, in our second district game this week, we had Cisco taking on Clyde. Another big win for Cisco, 48-14 over Clyde. Another game I didn't see happening. I thought Clyde would have gave them a much tougher run for their money.
Yeah, that shows how good Cisco's going to be this year. I mean, Cisco's always a tough team, but to beat Clyde the way they did, that is impressive.
And then beat early last week. They beat Clyde this week, who beat Banks pretty handily. So this is going to be another, just like Comanche, this is a great way to start off the season. They did the same thing. They shook off those early year jitters and took care of business again.
Yeah, it's what you like to see from these teams early in the year. Just be able to come in, take care of business, and just continue on. I mean, they had pressure on them, a lot of pressure on them, so you know what they can do with pressure. They're a team you do not want to see pop up on your schedule.
It does help when you're winning 48-14, though. There's a lot less pressure at the end of the game.
A lot less after the game. But people, when you come in and win like that, people expect you to dominate every week.
Yeah. And that's what happened to Clyde this week. Everybody expected them to at least make a game out of it.
Yeah, I know I did.
Yeah.
They just lost that momentum and just were never able to recapture it.
All right. In our next game, this is a new update. We had Graham taking on Brownwood. I think everybody picked Graham in this one.
We had some Brownwood fans.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Brownwood's a good school.
I got a lot of faith in the new coach. I think he will be able to turn it around eventually, but it did not happen this week as Graham took the win 56-15.
And they're another one of these teams that just keep on taking these tough opponents to begin their year. And while they did lose, and neither of these games were particularly close, like you said, that coach, I think he's coming in, he's trying to implement his new plan, and these things always take time. But with Brownwood, there comes a lot of expectations. You're with a really good program. I believe they made the last 3 playoff berths. So he does have pressure, and I expect them to turn around soon, and they need to. Otherwise, it's going to really start getting hot under the seat.
That was a big risk taking on such tough teams at the beginning of the year for Brownwood. And, if it would have paid off and they would have won, They would have been carrying that coach off the field on their shoulders.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they're going to have to wait one more week for that.
And hopefully he can use this kind of as a character building. Because
Yeah.
you've seen that would happen with teams before who get off to a rough start to begin the year and then just rally back.
Yeah. He is going to have to win soon, though. He's going to lose. He's going to lose a lot of confidence around there.
Yeah, especially when you're a new coach, you have to kind of install that confidence with people.
All right, and the next game this week we had Early taking on San Saba at San Saba. Early coming out with the win, 23-15.
Yeah, those Longhorns, man. I mean, always battling.
Yeah.
It was a tight game for most of the game, like most early games are. And the fact that they lost like they did last week and were able to come back and win, I mean, that just shows you this team is always mentally tough.
That's a one-possession game right there. That could have gone either way at the end of the game for if San Saba would have been able to make a drive there at the end. But
yeah, and that mental toughness early shows by not really being phased whenever they do suffer a bad loss like they did against a really, really tough opponent. That's what comes in handy in these tight games because you never look out of it.
That's what you like to see out of these scrappy teams. That's what I love about seeing them.
Yeah, they're so much fun to watch.
They're tough there at the end.
I like I said, cannot express how much I can't wait for that game.
Yeah, it is going to be a great game next week. Don't forget to catch it next week. All right, next game we had Mason taking on Goldthwaite, and Mason, as a lot of people thought, came away with the win here, 26-7.
Yeah,
I personally had Goldthwaite. I didn't think they'd start 0-2. I know they're a very strong team, so to see him lose the first 2 games of the season is very surprising.
Yeah, very few people I think saw them going 0-2, but once again, tough schedule at the beginning of the year. They're not out of it. It's just these kind of learning experience. When you get knocked down, it's really important to see how you can come back up from it. And they got knocked down to begin this year, and I expect them to come back really strong from it.
Yeah, as we said earlier, a lot of the teams in the district have not started off strong, so Goldthwaite is definitely still in it. There's a lot of season left.
Yeah, all of these teams are taking tough matchups to begin the year, so no one's really running away with the division right now.
All right, and we got a new update, a new final score for Ballinger and Winter. Ballinger went to Winter to take on the Blizzards, and they came in with the win, 34-14.
Ballinger bounced back. I mean, they're a team last year that no one expected much from, and then they just came back, I believe made it to the playoffs last year. They're just a really solid program. I mean, they suffered a disappointing loss to Brady last week, but were able to come back and do what they needed to do to win this game.
Yeah. Wasn't disappointing loss to me that first week. I had Brady.
Yeah, you and Dennis.
Yeah. Good win for Ballinger. Way to bounce back. I unfortunately didn't believe him in this week, so I didn't pick him, but I won't have any doubts against you anymore.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Ballinger, once again, I just really liked them. Rode them hard last year in the Pick'em show. I don't see me turning off the bandwagon right now. Except until I see something to show me that they are not a good team. And Brady's looked like a good team so far this year.
Absolutely.
So that is not a loss that they should feel ashamed about. That is a tough team they lost to, and it's going to be a tough out for the rest of high school football.
So, another one of those teams I'm looking forward to watching in the district this year.
Yeah. What was the Brady final score?
Brady, it was actually up next. They were taking on Sonora this week in Sonora, and Sonora came away with the win, 35-18.
Yeah, this is one of those games that you can't just really look at the overall score to get a good feeling for how tight this game was. In the fourth quarter, I believe Brady came in winning that game, 18-14, and then Sonora's a great team. Been a great team for a while now, and they did what you have to do if you want to be considered a great team for as long as they've been considered, and you just come out when the pressure's at its highest, and you come out and win those games. Brady was driving with, I believe, 6 minutes left. They were able to pick them off, then able to stop another Brady drive, fourth and 6 on their own 32, and they were able to stop them and just continue to win. And Brady, once again, not a loss you should feel ashamed about. Sonora's a tough team to face, and I believe Brady's going to be a really, really tough out from what they've shown so far this year.
I think they should just go back to the week 1 tape and check out those first the first 4 quarters from week 1. Check out the first 3 quarters from week 2.
Yeah,
because whatever they're doing in those 7 quarters was exactly what they need to do. They hung in there that first week against Ballinger, ended up taking the game there at the end. This week, they just couldn't hold on in the fourth quarter. Sonora's a tough team, so...
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's no shame in losing to Sonora. They played them really tough. I believe they're going to be bounced back. And once again, they're getting experience playing these tough teams early, so when you have to play them again at the end of the season, you're going to be ready.
Yeah, I was really thinking Brady was going to pull that one out because they were in the same situation they were in last week against a tough Ballinger team. Just this week, just didn't make it happen.
Yeah, like I said, close game. Just not able to overcome Sonora, but no shame in that.
And did we get a final score in that Hamilton game?
That Hamilton game?
Yes.
Let me look for that real quick. Why don't you give
I'm going to go ahead and go to the next game. We had Crane taking on Colorado City. Game we were all looking forward to. We were saying this afternoon that was going to be a tough matchup. It was going to be a great game, and it didn't disappoint. Crane came out on top, 27-20 over Colorado City. So another great game this week. Cranes were just a little bit tougher.
Crane is a really good school, a really good program. Colorado City also is. Surprising that they start the season 0-2, but I mean, you just get off to these tough starts or tough games at the beginning of the year, and it kind of gets hard when you're losing these close games like they have been. But they were able to keep it close all game against a tough opponent, and I expect them to bounce back really strongly. I'm not sure who they play next week, but I wouldn't want to be them.
No. I'd hate to be the team facing a strong 0-2 team because they are going to be...
Yeah, they're going to be angry,
yeah,
and they're going to come back wanting to prove that they are better than what the record shows right now.
They're going to be coming in hot from kickoff to the final whistle.
Yeah, it is not going to be a fun game.
No.
All right, I do have a final on that Hillsborough-Hamilton game. Hillsborough won 46, Hamilton 43.
Oh, another heartbreaker, another very close game this week.
Yeah, even more heartbreaking for me because I had Hamilton.
Oh.
But Hamilton lost to Comanche. Once again, the Comanche looking a lot stronger, and then they lost to Hillsborough, a tough team that no one really saw like being 0-2 to start the year. But once again, whoever plays them next week,
don't feel bad. I picked Hamilton as well. So,
yeah, it was really a coin flip kind of game, and that's the way it played out, back and forth all game. Both of these teams just battling hard for that win, and Hillsborough just came up a little bit ahead this week.
Yep. All right, our next game we had Hawley taking on Grape Creek. I know this is a very important game for you, Chase.
Love my Hawley games.
Hawley shocked the world this week, 58-38 over Grape Creek.
Well, I wouldn't say shocked the world. I mean, Grape Creek, solid program, but not exactly Cisco. But these teams, once again, fought hard. I mean, they're not going to get a lot of easy games this year. Both of them are going to be in a lot of tough scraps. They were able to keep Albany pretty close last week. A game not a lot of people thought was going to be close for most, I believe, the first three quarters. I know at least the first half it was close, but Albany was able to run away with it in the fourth. And this game was a nice little bounce back for them.
Mm-hmm. Well, that game last week was 21-7, so they still kept it close even there at the end. So this week they just carried forward that momentum, and
that's what you like to see.
Beat down on Grape Creek.
Yeah, I mean that is no Grape Creek might not get a lot of respect from people, but it is no easy task to beat them like they were beaten this week.
I'd like to see the numbers for those Hawley players because 58 points. That's a lot of. They cover a lot of green on that game.
Yeah, someone had a big game.
All right, we got some 6-man games here for you. We had Victory Life taking on Covenant Classical in the first game this week. Victory Life coming out and getting the win, 24-6.
Talking about scrappy teams, those Victory Life Warriors. I mean, they are as scrappy as they get. A little bit inconsistent last year. You kind of seen that this year, but when they lose, it's generally to teams that almost everyone else loses to. So there's really no real shame in losing those type of games.
No, and I believe it was a unanimous decision against them this morning in the Pick'em show. So
pretty much, and I mean that's once again because these 6-man football games are so hard to gauge. like you said earlier, I mean, you'll almost be better suited just flipping a coin because these teams come out and then you just never know what's going to happen. That's why there's so much fun to listen to, fun to watch. I mean, just to keep up with. It's really entertaining.
Yeah, I'm either going with a coin flip or eeny, meeny, miny, mo on the rest of these six-man teams.
That might be the smart strategy.
The rest of the season.
Drive yourself crazy trying to look at stats and figure out who's going to win each week.
Yeah. All right. In our next game, we got the May Tigers coming out on top big over the Rising Stars.
Yeah, May Tigers got the one thing they were missing at the beginning of the year, your support.
That's right.
And they've been riding that wave of love and admiration coming from you.
Carried up through the first two games.
Yeah. I mean, they've looked good, both of these games. Beat Rising Star pretty easily this week. What was the score?
74-24.
Yeah,
Rising Stars.
That's a fairly big difference.
Yeah, I got a feeling that's not all my support right there. That's a lot of talent. You score 74 points.
I don't know, man. Your support, Steve, that can carry a lot of people anyway. Just look at the Texans.
That's right. The Texans are going to take it all this year from my support.
All right, what's the next score?
Our next game, we had Throckmorton, who replaced Panther Creek last second.
I'm not sure if it was exactly last second, but it wasn't a scheduled opponent.
It was very recent.
Yeah.
They took on Santa Ana this week, and Santa Ana could not have been happy about that.
No, did they not do well in this game?
They did not do well. Throckmorton throttled Santa Ana 60-13.
Yeah, that is not doing well. That cannot be a call you want to get where, hey, Panther Creek's out, but we got another team for you.
Yeah, I believe Throckmorton's ranked pretty high in the rankings.
I think you're right about that. And Santa Ana's no slouch either, so to be beaten like that is a dominant team.
Yeah. All right. You want to read some of these non-district games?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, we'll go back some over these non-district games as we wait for more final scores around the Central Texas area. And our next game, we had Abilene Cooper taking on Cedar Park. Sorry.
Easy for you to say.
All right, Abilene Cooper, another one of those tough Abilene teams.
This was one of those last-second games, wasn't it?
It certainly was. 24-21 on a 3 seconds left in this game. They kick a 31-yard field goal. 31 yards for people who watch mostly NFL is nothing. You know, that's a tee shot or chip shot. Sorry, but in high school, that's quite a distance right there.
Yeah, as we
last second.
As anyone who's listening to that Coleman-Kahoma game, Kahoma had some trouble with extra points in this game.
Yeah.
So 31 yards is no easy task for any high school kicker.
No.
I mean, even college kickers. Boise, a couple years back, learned that the hard way when they had that national championship dreams dashed by a kicker missing a field goal.
And I'm glad about that. Yeah, Abilene Cooper getting the win 24-21 over Cedar Park. A very exciting game.
Wish I could have been there to see that game.
Oh, man. I hope somebody has that recorded and puts that. If you're listening and you have a recording of that last-second kick, please post it to the KPSM Facebook page.
Yeah, and I mean, if someone does, I would be shocked if you don't see that on SportsCenter this weekend.
Yeah, that was big. Yeah. Our next game, we had another Abilene team, Abilene Wiley, taking on Bridgeport, and just another tough Abilene team.
Yeah,
Abilene breed them down there.
Yeah, Abilene Wiley, you don't want to see them on the schedule. What was the score?
Is Abilene Wiley 38, Bridgeport 6.
Yeah, I believe Bridgeport got that near the end of the fourth quarter too. So I mean, Abilene Wiley, just a dominating performance by them. Couldn't get much better than that.
I'm going to keep an eye on Bridgeport though, because last week we saw Coleman score a last-second touchdown against Wall, and then you see what they did to Kahoma this week. So maybe Bridgeport's riding a little momentum after scoring that late touchdown against Abilene Wiley.
It'll definitely be interesting to see next week.
Yeah. All right, in our next game, we had another Abilene team. Unfortunately, the result didn't go the way it did for the other Abilene teams. It was Abilene High taking on Duncanville, and it wasn't close. 50-20, Duncanville on top.
Yeah, Duncanville just kind of they had control of this game through the first half, and then they just were able to grab the bull by the horns in the second half and just ride it all the way to the finish. I mean, that 50-20 is not a close game, and to beat an Abilene team like that, that is very impressive.
Never easy to beat any Abilene team. All right, our next game, we had Anson taking on Olney. Another high-powered offensive game. Anson got the win, 62-32 over Olney.
And I'm actually impressed with Olney because, I mean, this game was not close the first half, and then they were able to come back and score 30-some points. I mean, that is impressive to be able to do that against Anson, who is, I believe, went undefeated last year. I mean, they're tough out.
If you watched SportsCenter this morning, you saw all them talking about is Peyton Manning throw 5 touchdowns in the second half. Olney got 32 points in the second half.
Yeah, they got close.
Yeah.
Once again, would like to see the box score for that one.
Yeah, that's got to be clearing 1,000 yards right there for both teams.
All right, I just saw a little update. South Lake Carroll, a team that is very well known for being a dominant team, dominated Midland Lee today, 63-14.
The lights are out this Friday for Midland Lee.
That is true. South Lake Carroll, though, once again, a tough team. I mean, I've seen Sports Illustrated cover them, and you don't see that happen for a lot of high school teams.
Yeah. I'm more than aware of their talent. I've watched them. They're always on like TV in Texas. If you watch Sport FSN, they're on all the time. They've got the Cowboys breed down there. That's where all the old retired Cowboys players go.
Yeah.
So
And
they're just pushing talent out down there in South Lake. And what was the final score of that game?
For the South Lake, that was 63-23, I believe.
You don't see Midland Lee lose like that very often.
Sorry, 13.
13. Not any better for him.
A little bit worse.
Yeah. We do have another final score here. A team we watched last week. Very, very tough team. Wall taking on Merkel this week with the final score of 50-0.
Yeah, see,
0.
For any Coleman fan that would discourage last week, Wall is just a tough team. And we were able to keep it close for the first half, and then, but once, those Wallhawks start to get that momentum, you can't really stop them.
No, that is a dominant team right there.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well be banging your head against a wall.
Yep. All right, we'll move on from that joke. We got Vernon taking on Breckenridge. Vernon with the big win this week, 48. Let's see, this is 6 or 8.
It is a 3.
3.
Once again, handwriting is terrible.
Yeah, still trying to decipher this writing. All right. Again, I'm glad we didn't have this on the Pick'em show because I would have gone with the Buckaroos for certain after beating Colorado City.
Yeah, it's hard.
Tough team.
After that victory, it would be hard to go against the Buckaroos, and maybe a little bit of a hangover this week because, I mean, that is not a close loss.
Yeah, I'll send you a thank you basket for not putting that one on the Pick'em show this week to make my score even worse than it already is.
I appreciate lots of bananas in the fruit basket.
Yeah, 48-3, not even close. But Breckenridge, you got a great win the first week, so they got a lot to work with.
Yeah, Vernon, I mean, once again, a really impressive win. I mean, we just said Colorado City, not many people saw going 0-2, and Breckenridge was able to beat them last week, so I expect them to bounce back and be very, very angry next week.
Yeah, going to be a tough game.
Yeah.
For whoever that is, I'm sorry.
You never want to play an angry team.
I think we got the schedule around here somewhere. We can find it eventually. Next game, we had Eastland taking on
Jacksonville.
Okay. This was a tough game. If you're a Jacksonville fan, Eastland got the win 60-0.
Yeah. It's never in recent years it's never been good to be a fan of any Jacksonville team, whether it be from Texas or Florida.
That's true. So 60-0.
Nice
Hats
one for
off
Eastland.
to you, Eastland, and better luck next week, Jacksonville. All right, and our next game, we've got San Angelo Lakeview taking on Fort Stockton. Another one of these close games this week, but San Angelo squeaking out the win, 35-28. Fort Stockton, a very tough team, so it's hard to see them lose to
Yeah, I mean, this was
early in the season.
back and forth all game. It came down to the fourth quarter, last 2 minute, like those 2 minute drills that count, that you practice and they come in so important in these type of games.
Yeah.
I mean, just Fort Stockton just not quite their week this week.
No, I think they'll be back next week.
Oh, they're definitely going to be a solid team for sure.
Oh yeah. All right, we had Blanket in our next game taking on Eden. And Blanket got the big win this week, 67-23.
Yeah, that is a nice win.
They're not very soft.
No. Well, Blanket, you could say blanketed them this week.
Yeah. All right. We got a couple bad jokes in here.
Okay. No, but in all seriousness, Blanket's tough team. Nice victory for them this week.
Yep. Can't wait to see them next week. Next game, we had Robert Lee taking on Paint Creek with the final score of 54-6. Robert Lee coming out on top.
Very nice victory for Robert Lee. Paint Creek was a team I wasn't able to really follow last year, but I saw the results coming up last year all season, and they are a solid team. Nice, solid win for them.
Yeah, big win. All right, our next score, we've got a little fun fact at the end. Westbrook took on Wilson this week. Westbrook getting the win 53-6. And it says here that Wilson, this is their first win in a year.
And what a way to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, your first time in a year, they do it in style.
At 53-6, I can't imagine that game being close at any point, so good for them. I'll be following this year. Maybe they turn it around finally.
Yeah, I just had a score pop up across my screen. Alita stopped Stephenville's winning streak, beat them 56-14. And if you know Stephenville, that is a very, very impressive victory.
Yeah, Stephenville is Monterey Tech came up to visit them last week, and Stephenville came away with the win. So that just added on to their already sparkling image.
Yeah,
that they had. What was their win streak at? You know,
I believe they lost. The last loss I saw them have last year was to Monterey Tech at the beginning of the season. So it'd been about a year.
So a long streak for them. So surprisingly broken here.
So we go from one team breaking a losing streak in the last year to a team breaking a winning streak in the last year.
It's a circle of life here in Texas high school football.
That is very true.
All right. Our next game, we had Seymour taking on Haskell with a final score of 39-13. Seymour on top.
Nice victory for Seymour.
Yep.
Haskell's not an easy out.
No. All right, our next game we had Lubbock Cooper taking on Snyder. Check out this score, 32-31 Lubbock Cooper.
Yeah, that...
Yikes.
That is a close game.
Yeah, it literally cannot get closer.
That is true. It literally cannot get closer than that. Heartbreaking loss if you're on the wrong side of that one, but a tremendous victory.
Yeah, they're going to be riding a lot of momentum going into next week.
Hopefully they are able to keep the momentum and aren't able, because when you come off these victories, it is really tough, hard-fought, full 60-minute game. So sometimes that can kind of toll on you the next week. Hopefully we don't see that happen. I would like to see this be a really big momentum puller for them.
I expect a Lubbock Cooper team to go out there and practice just as hard this week, even after a close win like that. So I think there will be a tough out next week as well.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm a little bit of a negative Nancy.
All right. That's all we got right now, unless you got some more scores.
All right. Let's just go back over the division scores to end this show. We've been going for about an hour. We've got most of the final scores we're going to get for this week. All
right. The district games this week, we had Coleman taking on Coahoma with the final score of 37-12. Coleman coming out on top. The next game, we had Cisco taking on Clyde. Cisco got the win here, 48-13. Brownwood was facing Graham. Unfortunately, didn't get the win. Graham got the win, 56-15. Early rebounded from the loss last week, taking on San Saba. Got the win, 23-15. And we got Mason in our next game, facing Goldthwaite, a very, very predicted close matchup. Mason got the win, 26-7. Ballinger taking on Winter. Got the win 34-14. Brady couldn't quite pull it off again this week, Sonora got the win 35-18. And Hamilton, I don't have the score for that if you have it.
That was Hamilton losing 46-43 to Hillsborough.
Okay. Another very tight game. Hawley against Grape Creek this week. Hawley winning big, 58-38. And in our last game, we had Crane taking on Colorado City. Crane was the victor here, 27-20. Another close game.
We also had Comanche coming out and winning the second game this year in a row, beating Toller 31-20. Impressive victory for them.
Yes.
All right, and we'll,
and we're just waiting. The only score we're waiting on right now is Bangs and Llano.
Yeah, that for some reason that one's been kind of out there. That was the game I was most interested to see too. So unfortunately, we won't be able to give that to you this week, but or tonight. But if you check our Facebook page, as soon as that score gets posted, we'll post it on there.
Absolutely, and I was disappointed too. I'm really trying to follow this quarterback for Bangs from what I've heard about him.
I got to watch him in person for one game last year, and he is incredible to watch. His last name's Newton, and that's not all he shares in common with Newton, a certain Newton who plays in the NFL. Also, a pretty good baseball player from what I've heard.
Oh.
Yeah. Multi-talented. All right, well, that is the scoreboard show for this week. Once again, you can check our Facebook page, KPSM Sports, to make sure to get those updates during Friday Night Football, and make sure to tune in after the Coleman games every week at 10:30. And we'll be providing you with all the local scores we can find in that hour, or at 9:30. Well, it was 9:30 or 10? Yes, 10:30. Sorry, I got military time up here, and I just cannot read that. I've been seeing it for most of my life, and I just still can't get my head around it. Well, once again, that's the KPSM Scoreboard Show. I am James, and that was Steve over on the other mic.
We'll see you next week.